Good morning. We're a few minutes out from practice. I see some of you already in, getting ready. So grab what you need to. I've got my yoga blocks here. Many of you that have done this class before know that you can also use pillows. So I'll give you a moment or two to grab those. A couple of things I did this morning because it's a little dreary out, which I actually prefer. But I also like to bring light into the situation in small spaces. So I lit some candles. So do that for yourself if that's something you'd like to do and view in your practice this morning. Other than that, you might need a blanket or a beach towel. And we will get started here in about 2 minutes. It's going to be a great way to start your morning, as always. I have a lot of cool things planned. So I will see you here in about 2 minutos. Hey, Vishal, what's up? I am good. No complaints, sir. How are you? Are you back in the States? Okay, well, good morning once again. Okay, Vishal, we'll have to talk more about that. Let's chat after class. I'd like to know what's how your family is and what's going on over there, for sure. Hope you're well too, my friend. So welcome everyone to Mindful Muscle Recovery here this glorious Monday morning. We are going to begin our practice in a simple seat, but I also want to offer you hero's pose if that's what you prefer. So hero's pose is simply coming sit bones to heels with your knees together, getting that quad stretch. If this is too uncomfortable and it's a little too much on the knees, you want to take the knees apart, maybe about hips distance, and set a block or a pillow underneath your sit bones, and then draw your knees back together. You're still getting that nice quad stretch, just a little gentler, okay? So that's an option this morning. especially if you'd like to open up through the tops of the feet, your ankles, or anywhere you want a little bit deeper of a hip stretch and quad stretch, depending on how your days have gone in the last few. You may be needing that particular stretch. If that does not feel good, please just meet me in a simple seat. Just as good. And right away, notice which leg you place in front when you sit in your crisscross applesauce, as they call it in kindergarten, right? And switch the feet. So we want to immediately here challenge our pattern of thought. Challenge the pattern of the body that is most relatable and comfortable to us, so that we're giving that side that normally doesn't get the initial opening a space to grow, a space to open. And then from here, settle the hands to the knees. If you're feeling you need a little bit more energy, you can flip the palms up. And if you are needing a little bit more groundedness, centeredness, security, you're feeling kind of all over the place, you may choose to flip your hands to face your knees. Also an option, if you can't relax the shoulders easily with the hands out to the sides, you can always bring both your hands to your lap. Close the eyes. Breathe in your mat space and all it has offered you in the past. And if this is your very first class, breathe in the openness and the newness of this opportunity. And first we begin a body scan this morning, starting with the crown of the head. Noticing if we're in a bit of a slouch and pressing through our sit bones so the crown of the head travels a little bit closer to the ceiling. And then we continue that body scan on down. So taking our awareness to our forehead and then to our temples, our jawline, our eyes, the bridge of our nose. Starting to check in with how each piece of the body is feeling, how you arrived to your mat space. And instead of going to a place of this isn't feeling good or this is feeling good, let's stay away from good, bad, and just become an observer. Just taking notes, if you will. And staying away from the why. Okay, so we're putting the why in a box over here, along with maybe another box of uncertainty, right? But we're also acknowledging the way that we feel, regardless if it's positive or negative. We just want to accept what is as best we can. And we begin to do that a little more as we take our awareness away from our thoughts and into the breath. So we're continuing the body scan. And as we reach the tips of our lungs and our chest here, we start to notice how we're breathing. Again, it may be shallow, it may be lengthy, it may be somewhere in between. And we just notice and accept how our body is breathing. And once we have that acceptance piece in, from that place we can start to deepen the breath. So then the body and the breath awareness become one. Inhaling deeply through the nose, the crown of the head grows up towards the ceiling, just as you did at the beginning of the body scan. And on the exhale, nice, slow, smooth, surrendering breath all the way to the bottom, emptying the body completely of air by tucking the tailbone under, and then repeating that sacred circulatory breath. It is all your own. No one breathes like you do. how do we lengthen the breath? We become mindful of it. So we listen for the internal sound of the breath, but we're also aware of what it's doing externally to the physical body. Your sit bones become more pressed into the mat on the exhale. Your shoulders drip away from the ears. Your abdomen releases any tension. Your facial muscles start to rest. You become a little bit more settled. Drawing in your next deep inhale, please take whatever intention or prayer you'd like to place on your practice this morning. Breathe it right in through your heart center. So imagine your heart center illuminating with this purpose, with this prayer, with this intention. And then on the exhale, know that in fact that it is received and heard 100% of the time. And as you deepen your belief about being heard, once again, the breath hits a new level, creating space throughout the physical body. But it doesn't stop there. You tap into your mental and emotional being, your spiritual being. Let's take 4 more deep breaths right here. You may choose to drop right into your Ujjayi breathing, your yogi breath, by constricting the throat slightly on the inhale and exhale. We're keeping both the inhale and the exhale internal. It may sound like ocean waves. And then at the bottom of that last exhale, blink the eyes open, take a soft gaze over the nose. And then from here, interlace all 10 fingers and begin to press the palms away from the body. The elbows still have a little micro bend. We want to be gentle here. On the inhale, we're going to take those hands up overhead. Notice if your shoulders come up next to your ears. Draw them back and down. Tuck your tailbone under. And on the exhale, bring the hands right in front of your vision once again. Press them away. And this time, tuck your chin. Round your cervical spine. Drop the shoulders down. Repeat. Inhale. Arms come up overhead, pressing the palms up. Maybe you gaze up this time. So we're adding little micro movements on either end. Exhale, round through the spine, press the palms away, drip the shoulders away from the ears. 3 more. Inhale, breath, expansion in the body, especially in the front side. Exhale, round. And then back up for 2. Exhale, breath. Still tucking the tailbone under, emptying the body completely of air. Last one, nice deep inhale. And then bring those hands back into the front of your vision. We're going to release those fingertips out wide. Palms are going to face me, so the thumbs are up towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to drop the left hand down to the mat space and reach right over with the right arm. We're going to sweep this right arm forward. Left hands follow. Right hand stays to the right. And then reach up with the left arm. Maybe look up. And then we're going to reverse that whole thing. So left hand sweeps forward. You root through your sit bones as you take a little bit of a forward bend. Left hand ends up outside of the left hip. Reach the right arm up and over the right ear. So a little dance here in our seat. Little side to side action. Grounding through the opposite sit bone as you reach. So my right arm's reaching. Right sit bones pressing into the mat. Left arm is reaching. Good. Take a few more each way. We're just getting into those hips, getting into those shoulders, making these half circles. Very nice. All right, so then from here, we're going to take both forearms forward, and this may be where you need the ground to come up to you a little bit. So if you have a yoga block, great. If you also have a pillow, you can use that. And I want to be in a position here where my heart is moving forward in this fold, but my sit bones are also rooted, okay? So if that means I have this block where I have a couple pillows stacked in order to maintain the integrity of the low spine, that's what I want, okay? So this morning, I'm going to take my block to the second level, rest my forearms there. I'm going to flip the palms up towards the ceiling. Draw the shoulders and the elbows back towards the body, so you notice that the collarbone opens. And then from here, a little wrist work. So whether your forearms might be on the floor here, because you might have that space available in your hips, but wherever you are, just begin to rotate through the wrists. Making any rotation you want, and then taking it in the other direction. Always balancing throughout each posture, no matter how small the movement is. Maybe making fists. Maybe you get some snaps and crackles. And then from here, take your fingertips to the ground. Okay, I'm going to come up off my block a little bit here. So my fingernails are facing towards my body and my palms are facing towards you guys. And then maybe walk the fingertips back towards the body a little more so we start to open up through those forearms and wrists. And then notice, is your immediate response to straighten through your arms? And instead of being goal-oriented in that way, introduce a micro bend to your elbows. And feel what that does to the rest of the arm bones, the rest of the joints. You can press the heel of the hand away a little more. You can stay right where you are. Please don't forget about the breath. It is important in every piece of asana. Asana is the physical practice of yoga. Take 2 more breaths right here. Nice. And then start to come off those fingers. Take the hands, palms down to the ground, or you can take your forearms back to the block. And all I would like for you to do is press through the forearms and draw the heart forward even more. Okay, so if I'm here on the ground, I'm drawing my heart forward, so my back stays nice and flat. My gaze is down in between my thumbs. I'm rooting through my sit bones for 3, 2, and on 1, we begin to stack the vertebra one at a time as we walk those fingertips and hands back towards the body. All right, so from here, we're going to take those fingers back behind us, facing towards our glutes, lean into our hands, take the feet as wide as your mat, and start to windshield wiper side to side here. Been in a seat for a little bit, so take it slow, be gentle. Pause on one side as long as you need to. No rush. So we spent a little bit more time on that side. If you'll remember, that was your non-habitual side. We're going to take the opposite leg in front now. So mine is I always feel most comfortable putting my right leg in front. So now my right leg is in front, my left leg is behind. We're going to spend a little less time on this side because we always go to this side. So you'll notice if you always go to something, it's comfortable, right? It's probably stretched out. It's probably less tense. So where we hold things in the body, sometimes we like to hold on to it a little tighter on the side that's more challenging. And I want to express the gift of letting go, of approaching that challenge with grace and breath, and obviously stretching here this morning. So we're on the opposite side, opposite legs in front. And we're once again going to take the hands to the kneecaps. And instead of making those circles, we're going to make some back and forth movements. So chin's going to come to the chest. And then inhale, breath. Elbows are going to come into rib cage. You're going to look where the ceiling meets the wall. That's comfortable for your neck. If not, you can keep the gaze neutral. Either one. Exhale, round. Seated cat-cows here. So really draw those shoulders forward, chin to chest. Nice deep inhale, elbows in. Press the kneecaps into the hands, look up. Fan those sit bones back behind you. Beautiful. Take it slow. Smooth the breath out. One breath, one movement. Take 3 more each way on your own breath. Beautiful. Last one. Pause with that collarbone opening, the chest moving forward, a nice flat back. Find a place for your fold here. So once again, taking the block if you need it, or just setting the forearms onto the floor. This time we're going to interlace all 10 fingers and make a fist package. I'm going to press into those forearms, either into the block or the floor, and draw the heart forward. And then take the gaze down in between the eyes of the elbows. Root through your sit bones by slightly tucking the tailbone. And then keeping those forearms pressed into the floor. You're going to take your gaze over to the left. A nice neck stretch here. Continue to draw the shoulders back and down. Take the gaze back to center, eyes of the elbows. And then on over to the right. Come back through center. Do that one more time. Over to the left. Center. Over to the right. Beautiful. Once you arrive back at center, just lift and press through those forearms. Lift the fist package towards the heart and roll the wrists out here in your fist package. A little bit different. Might get some other joints, knuckles popping. All good. Okay. Shake those hands out. Great. Take any props you have over to the side, and we will meet in a tabletop position. Moving on in our asana practice. Taking our time changing positions. Once you arrive in the table, stack the arm bones. Spread the fingers really, really wide. And then lift just your middle finger so that you can ground down through all 4 corners of the hands. As you float that middle finger back down to the mat, notice the distribution of weight in your joints. Notice also if your habit is to really straighten through the arms, and add that little micro bend in the elbows. Add some buoyancy to your table. And then from here, we take our attention to the hips. So hips right over knees. Then we take our cat-cows from here. So drop the belly, lift the gaze. On the exhale, round through the spine, gaze to navel. Maybe stay on one end or the other for a couple breaths. It is your practice. Take what you need. Nothing more, nothing less. Take take about 3 or 4 more cat-cows each way. The next time you find yourself in your cat, I'd like for you to shake your head yes and no. Releasing any neck tension, letting the head hang heavy. Then come back to a neutral spine, bring the big toes together, and edge the knees out wide, maybe even a little wider than your mat. And start to sink your hips back to your heels. You're going to land in your child's pose. So, pillow or block, maybe under the forehead, or maybe you send the forehead straight down to the mat. Wherever you are, notice if once again your reaction or your response is to straighten out through your arms. And take your elbows down, bend them towards the mat. And then loosen the grip of your fingertips here. You might even do a couple of those wrist rotations in order to get the hands more comfortable. So in child's pose, we don't want to move the tension from one area of the body to another. We want to release it anywhere it travels. So we bring that breath awareness back into the practice if we lost it. On the exhale, the hips are moving even closer to the heels. If you're on a block, you might find that you have already created a little bit more space for your forehead to come down to the mat. You also may find that you have not, and that's okay too. Wherever you are is 100% perfect, is 100% normal. All those words that we attach to what our worth is or what our goals are don't matter in the yoga practice. Have very little value in our spiritual nature. So continue to allow the breath to take you to those deeper spaces of who you are. Inviting in a new perspective. Sometimes we do it in our poses. So we're going to do it right now in child's. Lift the forehead just slightly so that you can take your arms back behind you. Elbows drape over the knees. Upper body is really heavy here. Heart is sinking towards the mat. Opening a little bit more between in the inner groin and then also the low back. 4 more breaths. Steady breath in. Steady breath out. Please take your arms forward as we rise up. Walk the hands back towards the body. 1 handprint at a time. Again, there's no rush. We're going to stop about halfway and spider up through the fingertips here. Pull the low belly in. Take the chin to the chest. Round through the cervical spine. Notice that my hips are still melting towards my heels. And then from here, draw the elbows in. Look up, fan the sit bones out. This is a nice way to come out of child's. Exhale, round, chin to chest. A little bit smaller of a movement than when you're in your table. Just as yummy. Let this feel good. Layer on that breath like a thick coat of chocolate icing on a vanilla cake. Yes. One more each way. Nice, the spine should start feeling a little bit more loose here. You might even find that you're a little euphoric or even lightheaded because you've cleared out that communication pathway in the spine, your nervous system that has been on overload. From here, we're going to come through table, and we're going to set the right knee, or just swing in this right knee behind the left one. Okay? From here, take your feet wide and play with your sit bones back and forth. Press through your palms. See how this side is feeling. And then we're going to take the feet wide enough so that our sit bones can come right down to the mat into cow face. All right, so I'm going to show you what this looks like from the front. Left knee is stacked over the right. And then once I'm down, I figure out if my heels need to come a little further forward, and I make those adjustments. Okay. If you're here and you have a lot of space between the left knee and the right, the inside of the right knee, first of all, that's perfectly fine. This is your stretch. But you can do a couple things. You can take a block or a pillow in between. You don't want that hanging out there if there's any pain or an overload of sensation. Give yourself some support. You can also roll up a blanket and stick it between here too. And this goes for, we're going to do both sides. So this goes for either side. You may find that when we get to the other side that you don't need a prop. It might be a little bit more open. So taking that if you need it. And then also another little trick here is to take your hands to the insides of your feet and give yourself a little lift in the hips. Lean forward. And then settle those sit bones back down to the mat. Usually you find that the knees get a little closer, but please, once again, don't make it the goal for the knees to stack perfectly. Okay? So then from here, we're going to inhale, reach our arms up overhead. We're going to then take the left elbow underneath the right. Opposite hands to opposite shoulders. And begin to walk the fingertips towards the middle of your back to your degree. So my right elbow is on top of my left here. And then once I find a good grip for my fingertips in the back, I'm going to drop my shoulders away from my ears and take my chin to my chest. Then I want to pull my lower belly in slightly and press my upper back and shoulders into my hands. You can close your eyes if you'd like. Give yourself a nice big hug. You deserve it. If this is too difficult for you to breathe, you want to bring the hands a little further away from the mid-back. You're still getting a nice shoulder stretch. Three, two, and on one, slowly release those arms off to the side. We're going to stop and pause here with the thumbs up towards the ceiling, much like we did before. Drop those shoulder heads back and down, squeeze them, and start to move the hands back behind you. And then from here, bring them forward like you're holding an imaginary block. Tuck the chin slightly. And then once again, take them back. Shoulder blades squeeze and together. Maybe you look up, you can add a neck stretch, throat chakra stretch. Bring the palms together. Last one. Beautiful. Next time you find your hands forward, we're going to bend up through this left elbow. We're going to take the right hand to the left elbow and encourage this left hand in between the shoulder blades. So we move the left elbow a little bit further behind our head here. And instead of flipping the grip and taking the right arm behind us today, we're simply going to take our gaze up where the ceiling meets the wall and let our head be cradled into that left elbow. You should get a nice tricep stretch here just by that simple movement. Lift the heart. 3, 2, and on 1, release both arms out to the side once again. This time, flip the thumbs down towards the mat and the palms back behind you. Find an inner rotation in the shoulders. And then flip them back and around, elbows forward. So you're flipping your hands almost like on a rotisserie chicken situation. Yeah. Good. Pinkies up towards the ceiling, and then thumbs down towards the mat, palms press away. One more each way. Forgot all about your hips by now, probably. That's the idea. Awesome. From here, carry the hands down to your sides. Take them slightly behind you and unwind the legs. We're coming back into windshield wipers. So right knee in, left knee out. Pause as long as you would like. Feel the difference in the hip we did some work on and the hip that is yet to go. So just as I encourage you to take notes at the beginning of class, we want to revisit that body awareness throughout the practice. So we take those notes of what feels gentle, what has released, the changes that have already been established, the openness that you've already created. Beautiful. Let's pause here in the middle. And then from here, we'll take the right knee underneath the left, coming into the opposite side of cow face. So same things here. In a second. Right knee over the left is the correct. Yes. Just make sure you have the opposite knee on top. So we take those same things here. We move the feet forward. Maybe we take the hands to the insteps of the feet and rise up here and then settle back down, do a little booty wiggle. Find both your sit bones as evenly rooted as possible. And then if we need that block or blanket in between the knees here, we take that. So take a moment, find your cow face posture on this side. Notice it opening on the outside of the left hip. Once you've established a comfort level here where you can breathe, we'll take those arms up overhead. And this time the right elbow comes underneath the left. We give ourselves that squeeze. So walking the fingertips towards the mid-back. And then allowing ourselves to push back into our hands for comfort as the chin comes towards the chest. And then making those micro movements that are right for our body. So maybe releasing the hands a little further away from each other, or maybe walking them towards one another even more. You want to keep the shoulders stacked over the hips. Keep your spine nice and long. Breathe. Three more right here. Bringing your gaze back to neutral, releasing your hands fully, arms out to the side. Nice. From here, on this side, we're going to flip the palms back and take a fist package. Really open up through the shoulders. So draw your palms together no matter how deeply you need to bend the elbows. And then take the fist package down towards the floor. Open up through the chest. Maybe take the gaze up if that feels okay. Find a tuck in that lower abdomen and tailbone. Beautiful. Gaze back to neutral. Release those palms out to the side. Bring them up. Bend through your right elbow. Left hand to right elbow. And then we work that hand towards the middle of our shoulders. Inhale, breath. Send the chest and heart up. Gaze comes up as we cradle our head with that right elbow. Open up through the back of the tricep. Yeah. Then notice if you're leaning a little too far back, and bring the shoulders back to stack over the hips. 3. Use the breath to take you where the mind cannot. 3, 2, and on 1, unwrap, unwind. Once again, arms come out to the sides. Fingertips face away as we lean back into those hands. And we're going to release the feet forward and together. So the legs are going to land in a diamond shape here. If your ankles are experiencing any pain, you can take a blanket or block and set your feet on top. This is a little less intense on the inner groin as well. You also could choose to take a pillow or your blocks under each knee, which I'm going to do here this morning. Again, honoring my body, what it needs today. Could I do the stretch without the blocks? Sure. Should I is another question, right? So always playing with what we call the edge. Even in our slower, more mindful practice, there's an edge. The edge is where you feel sensation and you can still breathe. So the breath is the ultimate guide, no matter what. If you get into this position without your props and you have trouble breathing, because maybe it's too intense on the inner groin, you want to take a moment, honor that edge, come out of it, and place some props underneath. So wherever you are here, let's open up the front side body by taking those arms up overhead. Spin the palms towards one another this time. Drop the shoulders back and down. And then from that place, we're going to find a roundness in the spine as we come forward. Hands are going to land to the calves, the ankles, maybe the outside edges of the feet. We're going to draw the heart forward, elbows in, and then find a complete ragdoll over our lower body. So the head is heavy, the chin is slightly tucked. The hands are lightly gripping the outsides of the feet, the ankles, the shin bones, wherever they landed. Releasing all of that tension from the sacrum all the way up through the crown of the head. See if you can soften even more here on your next exhale. Maybe take the head side to side. And then just as we fully release and ragdolled there, we're going to just drag that upper body, hands just drag without any full intention or energy in them. We stack the vertebra back to seated. Beautiful. Hello. Hands to outside of knees. Draw the knees together. And then send your feet forward. Wiggle through your legs a little here. Move any props out of your way. And we're going to take a forward fold. So what I like to do is pull the flesh away from my sit bones so I can find that rootedness, that evenness in my hips. I'm going to bring a nice flex into my feet, so really drawing the toes back towards the body. Hands are going to come down by your sides. Press into the mat, fingertips are forward. So from the side, we look like a perfect shaped L. There's that word perfect. Ignore that. You look like an L, your L. And then flex with the feet so much that the heels lift a tiny bit from the mat. And drop your heels back down. From that place of stability and foundation, we're going to inhale, reach the arms up, spin the palms towards one another, say peace with your peace fingers, and then release those peace fingers to your big toes. So for me, I'm going to have to take my feet a little wider to make room for the baby. You can keep your feet together or take them wider, but notice my back is nice and flat, right? So I'm not rounding. I'm pulling the heart through. And then from this space, maybe I straighten through the right leg. Feel how that feels. Draw the heel back, then do the left. There's nothing wrong with playing in this posture and finding a little bit more space, experimenting, right? So along with your note-taking and your body awareness, you're making this mat space exploration, right? Safe exploration. So then maybe I'm able to straighten through both my legs and still keep the integrity of my spine. And then if you still have your big toes, you can take your feet out to the side and then bring them back together. Drawing the heart forward the whole time. Beautiful. Then take a nice inhale. On the exhale, draw the elbows out to the side. Bring the upper body closer to the legs. Notice if your shoulders come up next to your ears and draw them together so that they're even more spacious from the ears. 3. If you have a little bit more room, you can continue to come down. 2. And 1. Slowly release. Same thing. Just let those hands travel up the legs to a nice seated posture. Hands back behind you, bend through the knees. We're going to find our backs now. So scoot your hips forward. And please just drop to your forearms on either side. Soles of the feet are to the mat. Yeah. Then extend through the legs. And from here, you're just going to drop that head back as far as you like. And then tuck the chin, walk the hands forward. And slide all the way down to your back. When you land, take both legs up towards the ceiling. Heels pressing, toes back towards the face. So nice flex. And then with the legs engaged, start to tick-tock, back and forth. Massaging out below sacrum. Nice. And from here, bend your knees. Take your hands to your knees or your shin bones. Pull them out wide here. So I'm rooting through my tailbone. And then take a little tick-tock here. So drop the right knee over to the right. Remember, you're rooting through that tailbone the whole time. And drop the left knee over to the left. Just finding a little expansion side to side here. Nice. And then if the space is available to you, you're going to take the hand to the inside of the right foot, maybe the heel, and start to extend the right leg out to the right. Straight. Yeah. And then re-bend through the right knee. Take the left hand to the inside of the left foot or the ankle or the calf. You don't have to have the foot necessarily. Your leg doesn't have to come all the way straight. And then just play here. Straightening through one leg and then the other. Might get some hip cracks and pops. Nice. Come back through center. Knees are going to come right over the hips here. We're preparing for our spinal twist. So we're going to bump the hips over to the right, so that we make room for our knees to fall over to the left. Arms come out to a T. Gaze can be up towards the ceiling or over towards that right hand. Snuggle the left shoulder over to the left to find a little bit more space, and then the shoulders melt down. You guys stay right there in your twist. I'm going to come out. My twisting days are slowly coming to a close temporarily, but I will be back into those twisting postures soon. You guys stay with your knees to the left. Starting to twist out any remaining tension in the body. And don't forget to layer in the breath here. Breath is very important in twisting postures. Massaging the internal organs. Compression. So good. As long as we're breathing through it, right? We don't want to hold the breath in these postures. Then energy begins to become stuck again. Adding the breath, even though it's a little bit more challenging in twisting postures, is really important. Let's take 2 more breaths right here. Deep, intentional, beautiful breath. On your next inhale, slowly draw those knees back through center. And then from here, we're going to send the legs up towards the ceiling. And instead of tick-tocking side to side, one direction or the other, we're going to take the heels and rotate them together and apart. So you're still rooting through your tailbones. You might have a little bend in your knees. Different rotation, different muscle group. Take it in the opposite direction a few times. Beautiful. And then send the knees right over those hips. Once again, we're going to prep for our spinal twist on the opposite side. So this time the hips are going to come over to the left, and the knees are going to drip over to the right. Arms out to a T, maybe in cactus. Gazing over towards that right hand if you'd like, or straight up. You can also close the eyes and choose to go internal. Remembering this is your practice. Starting to really slow things down and get gushy. Starting to invite gravity in. Three more beautiful breaths right here. on your last exhale, let's begin to draw those knees back through center. And open up into your happy baby. So soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, grabbing the insteps or outsides of the feet. And then again, adding that playtime. So straightening through one leg and then the other. Maybe you find a little bit more space now that you opened up through the spine. Side to side. You can also stay still and just press the hands into the feet back into the hands. If there's some posture that I did not offer you that you would like to do this morning, now's your opportunity. Otherwise, squeeze those knees in towards the chest, grabbing opposite wrist, forearms, or elbows. Tuck the chin in. Lift the head slightly. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then exhale, release everything down to the mat. Feet splay wide. Arms come down by your sides. Palms face up. And then option here too, you can always take the right hand to the heart, the left hand to the low belly, and just let the elbows drape in towards the body. Sometimes that feels nice and comforting as we come into our final rest. Sometimes it feels better just to have the arms out wide. Take what you need. Squeeze the shoulder blades and the glutes together. And then relax that whole spine from top to bottom. Maybe even take that nice exhale through the mouth and let it all go. Invite that gravity in and also the breath that occurs without any direction from you, without any signal. Most of the time we breathe without even knowing it. Breath is one of the most amazing parts of how we were created. So listen to yours at its normal resting rhythm. Choose to go internal here for the next few minutes in stillness. This is the most important part of your practice, your final savasana. Something that the yoga practice offers that no other exercise does. Awareness of your thoughts may start to become more present. And I invite you to take an observer role once again in the body. So when we observe our thoughts, instead of attached to them, we find comfort, we find rest, we find peace. Take this time for you. I have a little reading for you all this morning from one of my favorite yoga books. In the absence of knowing the infinite source of energy and creativity, life's miseries come into being. Getting close to God through true knowledge heals the fear of death, confirms the existence of the soul, and gives ultimate meaning in life. I repeat this quote because it tells us so much about the reason we fear death and what we are meant to do about it in our yoga practice. We are afraid because we have drawn away from God. We will be unafraid when we draw near. How do we do this on the mat? Well, begin by doing what you are already doing. You are firm and relaxed, which implies that you are noting tension. You're becoming familiar with what the body workers call cringing patterns, your habitual protective tension. So we talked about a little earlier in class, putting the most comfortable side first if we have the choice. Day after day, you're becoming adept at releasing even deeper and more subtle layers of tension while still maintaining the posture. You are essentially learning to trust. Trust is the opposite of fear. Let your asana practice, your physical practice, be an exploration of trust. So we trust just a little bit more every time we come to our mat. We are open to that element that is so important to release us from our fears. I'll begin here to start to make little micro movements in the body, wiggling through the fingertips and the toes, rotating through the wrists and the ankles. Maybe take the head side to side, open and close the jaw. Opening up into a nice full long body stretch, arms and legs in complete opposition. Lengthen. As you exhale, carry the knees back into the chest, one final squeeze. Rolling on to your favorite side. Remaining in the fetal position for a moment more. Maybe returning to your intention or your prayer. Giving it a little bit more light. And then starting to press up to a nice comfortable seat, no rush. Take it slow. And we'll close our practice right where it began. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, watch the palms kiss. Draw the thumbs down into the breastbone, slightly bow the head. Thank you so much for joining me this morning here in virtual land. Soon to be in physical space with one another again. It's from this place of peace and mindfulness that we all say namaste. Be well, my friends. Have a beautiful day.